What are the biggest challenges that they're going to face, and what advice would you give to them?
I would say that just from my experience, one of the biggest challenges starting out is the planning and kind of thinking through, like, what is this actually going to look like? And what do I actually need to figure out before, during, and after so that it's like as smooth as possible, and as enjoyable as possible too, because you don't want to land somewhere and then have to be scrambling and have a lot of, I don't know, inconveniences or surprises that you have to kind of drop everything to deal with if you're supposed to be working. It ends up taking, everything is going to end up taking more time than you think it's going to. So if you can have most of that time be on the front end, you'll have more time to just relax, get your work done, enjoy wherever it is that you are.
I would say that um, on my side, it's actually very similar. Like, so this, I think from her side, that's from the planner's perspective. Somebody who's like, I need to have everything planned out ahead of time. For me, a lot of times, I really enjoy just landing somewhere and figuring it out on the fly because I found that I had some of the best adventures that way.
Yeah.
But just like what Kristen was saying, when you do that, you lose a lot of time. You lose
Yeah.
because you get somewhere and the internet doesn't work very well, and you can't do that Zoom call. You've got that sales meeting, and you got to find a coffee shop or co-working space in the next hour. Get there, pay for it, blah blah blah, and that can be a real inconvenience. And then especially as you have kids, if you have children that need to be in school or they need friends, they need socialization, they need all those things, you really have to plan that stuff out. So I find that as you grow and have children, like, you really have to plan things out a lot more. But if you're single and just jumping around and you have a job that doesn't require you to be on meetings, I don't think there's that much of a problem just landing somewhere. I've landed places, like I've landed in foreign countries without a place to stay or anything, any plans made at all, and I find it to be
Yeah.
super exhilarating.
And when you've done that, when you've landed in places you didn't know the language, how did you navigate that?
Hand signals. Yeah. It's I traveled a lot 25 years ago before you had a smartphone
Yeah.
that would translate everything for you, and so you just figure it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Somebody asks you for money, and you're just like, "This is what I got. Is it right?" You know, Sometimes you get screwed on that. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but most of the time, people are good. And most of the time, especially if you're dealing with small transactions, people will be honest about it. And if you just need food at a restaurant, they're gonna take your money. They're
Yeah.
gonna give you something.
Yeah. Kristen, what you're the planner. How do you feel about landing in a country you don't know the language? How do you navigate that?
So I have actually had that. I was an au pair in Spain, but little did I know that not all of Spain speaks Spanish. So I ended up being an au pair in like an area where they speak Catalan. And so I was surprised that I was not able to get by with the language. But most places, I think if you look around, you can find somebody that speaks English. And if not, like, you can figure out how to get the basic things taken care of, especially like now with smartphones, like it's not a problem.
Yeah.
So I don't think that it's that big of a challenge these days compared to maybe what it would have been a
Yeah.
while back.
I did have one important note about
Yeah.
landing places without having a place to stay. Technically, that is illegal in most countries, maybe all
Oh, okay.
countries. You actually have to have a place to stay when you're going into customs. Like, if they
Yeah.
question you, you gotta have your hotel or whatever your final destination is. I learned that the hard way in Japan. Landed in
Oh, okay.
Japan, and they were like, "Where are you going?" And I was like, "I don't know. You have a recommendation?" And they're like, "Oh, hold on." Fortunately, they were really nice, and they let me just pick something and go with that. But I think not all countries are going to do that. So if you are just landing somewhere, just make sure you got at least your first night booked.